Hello Shishas, welcome to my lectures on body movements. As usual, let us begin with quote, rigid the skeleton of habit alone upholds the human frame. Now we are going to learn about these topics, functions of skeletal system bones, connectors of body, joints of the body, disorders of skeletal system and gait of animals. Now let us begin with functions of skeletal system. The first function of skeletal system is movement. Skeletal system will give you proper attachments at different parts of the body along with muscles that can enable you to move. Second function is the backbone, which makes you to stand erect. And third function is protection. A large number of organs are protected inside the skeletal system and they are very safe. And fourth function is that can make the blood cells. And fifth function is storage. Bones stores minerals and even they can be extracted by the body whenever your diet doesn't consist of enough amount of minerals for the movement. Now let us look at two major skeletal system parts. One is axial skeleton that includes skull, spine, ribs and sternum. And second major skeletal structure is appendicular skeleton. So in this you can see the shoulders, arms, hips and legs. For easier identification, you can see the light blue color structure is axial and all other the appendicular structures. Now we're going to learn about the four basic shapes of bones that we'll see inside the skeleton. First one is long arms, legs, fingers have long bones and short ones in wrist and ankles. The flat bones, which include skull and sternum. Irregular shape seen in the spine. Now we're going to learn about different structure inside the bone. So what is meant by bone? So bone is a type of tissue that can be able to s- produce and store various minerals. So you have to understand it is a tissue. Tissue refers to a group of similar cells that can perform similar function. So here you can see how the bone is present. Bone has three important parts: the proximal epiphysis, diaphysis and distal epiphysis. And also you can see here the yellow marrow that produces the that can be able to produce WBC cells and also the blood vessels. So you can see the different parts here. Periosteum, which covers the bone, which gives the strong support, and compact bone, spongy bone and bone marrow. Now we look at the skeletal bones. First one, we'll start with head. The, the skull has different plates of bones, we can say. The parietal bone and occipital bone, temporal bone. And then the maxilla and mandible. So mandible is considered as only movable joint inside the head. And then the clavicle or collarbone. The collarbone holds the shoulder joint which is away from the upper body. And next is the scapula. Scapula is located inside of ribcage and also it provides an important joint to move the arms. Now we're going to come across the vertebral column or spinal cord. So this is a special bone, we can say, which is made up of small uh, unshaped bones called the vertebrae. It is divided into three different regions. So it's generally five different regions, but only three shown here more importantly: the cervical region and thoracic region and lumbar region. So next is sacrum and coccyx. These two regions also included in the vertebral column. And even you have to remember the brain and spinal cord together are going to compose the central nervous system. You will find lots of neurons that are carrying information from your lower region of body to brain with the help of nerves that are surrounded in the spinal cord. Next, Humerus, the upper arm bone. You can see clavicle and scapula, how they are arranged adjacently, and humerus is present, and then the radius and ulna is continued there, and metacarpus and phalanges you can see, and radius and top, ulna is bottom. Whenever you just show your thumbs up, always remember this important differentiation. And you can see the X-ray image here, how it will be. And carpals are wrist bones. The wrist bones in carpals will allow a definite movement to hold or pick up the things. And then the rib cage. The rib cage holds important organs like the heart and the lungs, and also they are as flexible to take the air in and out as well. Now the sternum, which is breastbone, or we can say it is a flat bone, which is going to connect the rib cages along with certain tissues. Now we're going to look at the pelvis, dancing bone, the bone which is able to connect the upper regions and lower regions of the skeletal system. Now we're going to continue with one of the largest bone in the body, the femur. And next, the femur is going to continue with tibia and fibula in the next part, and then you can see it is going to attach at the feet region, the tarsals, metatarsals and phalanges. Now we're going to come across an important topic, joints of the body. A body has the important joints that can able to allow permittable uh, movements. First is ball and socket joint. The distinction of these joints is due to ball kind of structure and the socket where this joint can fix inside. I'm sorry, I don't have any animation for this, so let us continue with next joint. Next is the hinge joint, the movement at joint in one direction, particularly you can see in the door. You can see the X-ray image here, so how it can be able to allow the certain degree of movement. Now we'll watch this animation to understand more.
Hinge joints, like the elbow, move on just one axis. These joints allow for flexion and extension.
Let's continue with next one, the joints of the body. The pivot joint, the bone resting atop another bone permitting free movement. You can see atlas and axis are present at the lower skull region, and neck, wrist and ankles have this important joint. Now we'll watch this animation to understand more.
At the top of the spine, the atlas and axis form a pivot joint that allows for rotation of the head.
Now, the fixed immobile joints. Even we have certain joints inside our body which are fixed and cannot be moved anyway. Example is skull and gliding joint. The gliding joint, as its name says, which can glide on each other. Example, knuckles in the finger region is an example for that. Let us watch this animation.
As the body moves, the vertebrae of the spine move against each other as gliding joints.
Now, the other parts of the skeletal system, the connectors of the body. The ligaments, which connects bone to bone, is also important, and the composition of the ligaments is really important in the bones, which allows the maximum flexibility. And you can see certain ligaments names here: articular, cartilage, collateral ligament, etc. And the tendons. So tendons are the ones which attaches muscle to bones. Because of this attachment only your muscles will get energy through which your bones can be able to move. So without muscles attachment, there won't be possibility of obtaining energy directly to the bone. Next is the cartilage. So cartilage is one of the important connective tissue that acts as cushion between the bones at a joint. So when the cartilage is good enough, so you without any pain you can see the joints are easily movable. And also when the cartilage damages at at a particular region, you'll feel a lot of pain. So even this cartilage is present in different parts of the body in forming the nose and also the ear, so which is highly flexible and soft enough. Now we'll continue with the problems of skeletal system, or we can say disorders in the skeletal system. First disorder is the breakage. So when there is excessive force on the bones, they can easily get breakdown. And sometimes the dislocation of joint also may takes place when there is excessive movement shown by the hands. And now the sprain, swelling in the joint, and arthritis, inflamed and the stiff joints. Next is scoliosis, the curvature of the spine. So due to less intake of minerals, might be in their young age, so this might able to occur. So the spine able to bend down, so they won't be uh, erect position in these people. And next is osteoporosis, the brittle bones. It is a scenario when a person do not take enough amount of minerals, the body will have a mechanism to extract maximum calcium and phosphorus depositions in the bone, and they utilize it. So when your body doesn't give it back to the bones and they become brittle, so this leads for the people to get the bones very lighter, and even their bones can bend down. Next is the moral time. You can read out yourself. Another part of lecture, gait of animals. We are going to study about the movement in these six organisms. The first one is earthworm, which is also called as farmer's friend. It has two muscles without skeletal system. Those muscles are longitudinal muscle and circular muscle. The movement in earthworm takes place through when these longitudinal and circular muscles will contract and relax respectively. And second is the snail, so one of the silent organism that will not harm anyone. You can see the eye-like structures, eye-like antennas here, and they are equipped with a shell, can able to hide inside whenever they see any kind of predator. And it has a muscular foot that can be able to help it to move. Next is cockroach, one of the disgusting pests for you or to your family. It can be able to move through its legs, and also it have pair of wings. You can see the combination of both of these that can be able to move and locomote easily. Now the birds. So one of the gifted organism that can able to fly. So they have the wings which are covered with the feathers, and they can be able to light themselves in the air. And you can see the how the upfill, how can be able to uh, go in the air, can be seen here, the laminar. And all the birds cannot be able to fly in the same direction, and it may not be able to expect same kind of movement in all the birds. It differs from bird to bird depending on its habitat and its weight. Next is fish. We know about fish. Fish is generally present in water, so it will not going to have any legs like us. So it has the fins and also the tail equipped with directions in a proper way. And depending on the fish size, you can see how the tail is located. Now the snakes. Anytime snakes always harmful or a factor which can affect us. Even the snakes can move through side winding, serpentine, concertina, and rectilinear. These are all certain movements shown in the snakes. You can see the actual differences. The blind images are nothing but the shapes commonly shown in certain snakes. Next is summary of lesson, directions in body discussed in class, locomotion, movement, basic discussed in class, and different movements in primitive organisms also discussed in class. So my emphasis is only on structure of human skeleton, joints and gait of animals. So revise well, do well in exam, do practice all questions before attempting the test. Take care.